Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. Okay, believe it or not, we are already into May. Whether you don't believe it because the year is going super fast or because you're still shoveling, but it's May. So let's talk wine. This is our silver lineup for the month of May. All right, so kicking things off, we've got Corcibella. So Corcibella, this is from Maremma, so in Tuscany, in the coastal Tuscany area. But Corcibella always kind of pushing the envelope with what they can do really well while preserving, they've got miles of forest between them and the next guy, and they want to make sure that, regardless of what Joe over there is doing, that, it's fresh, it's expressive, there's no contamination if they're using pesticides or things like that. So Corcibella has been kind of doing this since '88, but only doing reds. They do reds really, really great, Sangioveses, Super Tuscans, the Cab Merlot blends, all of this stuff. Fast forward to 2020, they released their first vintage of their Mongrana Bianco. So this one, you can see, or you might be familiar, the past is right on there. We have the red of the same. But this is an Italian Vermentino and Viognier. So incredibly food friendly. The Viognier is great. If you know me, I'm super into Viogniers right now, but they give it that nice kind of aromatic lift and make it really kind of approachable and easy drinking. Vermentino, so it's going to be medium body. You're going to get some salinity, right? There's that coastal freshness and the breeze coming off the sea there. But it also has this kind of restrained power. So it's got structure to it. It's, it's pretty. It'd be dynamite with, pasta. Or, like if you wanted to, like savory dishes, anything with herbs. So like if you did a pesto gnocchi or something like that, white sea, like fish or sea bass or things like that would be great with it. But this is kind of that medium-bodied, fresh Italian white. Next, and full disclosure, so I had picked, damn it, one second. Okay, so I had been doing some research on these other varietals, and anyway, I had brought in some cases of this really interesting grape that I wanted us to try, but it arrived, and it's meant to be a fresh, something that we really shouldn't be drinking if it's older than 2022. And the 2018 arrived. So, I can show it to you when you come in. It was, it was tired. It was obviously not how it was designed to drink. So unfortunately, we're not trying that one this month. If I can find another grape, we'll bring it in for June. But so anyway, so for this wine, some of you in silver are getting the Bico Amarello, and some of you are getting Avelita. And both of these are very similar styles. These are Vinho Verde. So these are Portuguese whites. Think farmers, think, it's not this super expensive, super sexy, vine training. It's vines going up fence posts and light posts and whatever they can do. These are very kind of agrarian style wines, but really cool, just meant to be, no frills, easy drinking, approachable, drink now, styles of white. So the Bico has Loureiro, Alvarinho, and a little bit of Avesso, and the Avelita is Loureiro and Alvarinho. So very similar, both blends of the grapes that are used to make Vinho Verde, which is, it translates to green wine. It's designed to be super fresh, unpretentious, just drink it and enjoy it now. Citrus notes, it has some floral notes. Both spend about 4 months resting on their lees, so they do have a little more depth and texture than the ones that came out 20 years ago and it was alcoholic water like going down. So again, if you wanted to do like a ceviche, or you did something with citrus or with the fresher style of seafood, you could totally get away with that. Some leaner style chicken dishes would be rad. Or super crushable on their own. And then we've got the Voltes Rosé from Monemvasia. So this is a Greek rosé. off the coast, still connected to Greece, so we're not on the islands yet, but way down there. Voltes, this line came about in the late 90s, but like most Greek wines, they focus on the indigenous grapes. They don't pretend that they know a ton about cabs or a ton about, you know, these big international varieties. They have the grapes that they do, and they work on doing them really, really well. So this, I mean, the main grapes in this, Roditi and Moscofilero. There's some other stuff in there. You know, it's definitely a field blend where if you were to walk through the vineyards, they'd be like, oh, those ones are, you know, they're whitish. And these ones, the pinkish, the reddish grapes. What I love about this one is that when they're doing, I mean, they do a white and a red as well. But when they're doing the rosé, it's not, you know, it's not a big scientific, you know, here's these grapes and let's make wine with these, let's make wine with these ones, and then let's blend it all at the end. It's all red, whites, you know, whatever. It all goes in, they get vinified together, you get this really cool, you know, expressive terroir Greek style. And then if it's a little too white, let's throw some of our red juice in there from the reds, or vice versa. If it's a little too deep, let's throw some white in. So they have fun with it. It's a really cool little rosé here to kick off, hopefully soon patio weather. In terms of food pairing, if you wanted to do food, you know, what would I do? You could do like a wrap would be good, shawarmas, you know, things that have that kind of that garlic component, of course. With the Greek wines, they're growing alongside a lot of vegetation. So if you had, you know, kale or asparagus, you know, a sauteed spinach stitch on this, something that has those dark leafy greens and that bitterness, it'll complement that really well. But this is the Voltes. Firing off the red side, we've got Esencia from Tempore. So Spanish. Tempore translates to time. Their philosophy in these vineyards is, you know, we're not too caught up in a release date or making sure we get to market by X. You know, when the wines are ready, we'll send them out. When the vines are ready, we'll pick them. It's very, you know, an enjoyable kind of slow down way of life. This one is all old vine Garnacha. So 35 to 50-year-old vines. Obviously at that point, you know, we're getting more concentrated, right? Like the younger ones have died down, you know, the fruits that we're not getting as many grapes by any means, but the grapes every year that we get are deeper, are more concentrated. So with this one, I mean, certified vegan, you know, another one of our healthy wines. But, you know, this one to me, it's got the big, like dried fig, the rich fruit, you know, it's got some smokiness, it's got some power on the back end. Very, like definitely a campfire wine for me. If you were to pair food with it, like a barbecue roast chicken or pork would like grilled or pork ribs would be dynamite. Like you could like a cool quinoa salad with, you know, feta and sun-dried tomatoes and cucumbers, like just a little bit of olive oil on there. I actually had it with an omelet with feta and spinach and sun-dried tomatoes, and it was great. Okay, we were doing breakfast for dinner. I wasn't drinking, you know, 14.5% Garnacha for breakfast with an omelet. We did breakfast for dinner, but I had this with eggs, and it was really cool too. So you could definitely, it's versatile. Next, our French for this month is the Domaine du Séminaire. So this is a Côte du Rhône, so southern France, southern Rhône, a blend of Syrah, Garnacha again, and Carignan, which gives it a little more power and structure. A little more of a dinner wine. It's definitely more of that earthy style, you know, a little more terroir driven, but you know, definitely drinkable on its own. Again, if you wanted to do food, proteins would be great. Rice dishes, absolutely. But Grela also certified or organic for sure. Yeah, very healthy in May, right? It's beach season. We're drinking all our healthy wines. And lastly, we've got the Wakefield Jaraman Cabernet Sauvignon. So Wakefield has been around for ages. They're one of the guys in South Australia who kind of like the Amarone families. I think there's 12 of them, 8 of them. There's this group of wineries that have been around forever. And, you know, especially in the last 20 years where it's become so prevalent, they uphold standards, they hold each other accountable, they make sure that, you know, they're doing their best to represent South Australia. What we care about, the wine, the juice, great. This is a big, intense Cab Sav. It's a 2017. So it's got oak on there. It's also got age on there. But this is, you know, blackberries, cassis. I get a lot of like eucalyptus, like mint notes on this one. But just a fuller bodied, big, definitely doesn't crave food, but would be dynamite alongside a steak or eggplant for my vegetarians or something like that. So South Australia Cabernet. And that, well, let's see if I can, that right there is your May lineup. And if you have any more questions about those wines, or now that I'm talking about old whites and you have some that you're not sure if maybe you should be drinking, by all means, shoot me a picture, or bring it in, text me, whatever. I'm happy to answer any questions. Other than that, I hope you enjoy the wines.